see as the major difference or the major hurdles? We talked about a lot of data, not enough analysis, versus a general market campaigner, a general market marketer. So what are those additional barriers that we have to overcome before we get to a place of stronger analytics and stronger analysis?
Yeah, I mean, I think I listed 3 of those, which was lack of education, lack of resources, not having the manpower really dedicated to just analyzing and understanding what works, what doesn't work. I think we're all running around crazy in this space, so it's really just finding the time and dedication to do this. I think the second one is there's just so much data, it's really understanding what data makes sense and what should we be looking at. And then finally is helping the advertiser understand the value beyond the click. And that's a challenge that we continue to have, and it's not an easy way to answer it. But I think if we can address those 3 things, then we'll be better off with respect to the use of analytics to increase the investment level and performance of campaigns.
I'll go ahead and take this question as well, because we've heard a lot from publishers. If we try and go back to some of the other traditional uses of analytics in B2C and B2B environments, there's a adoption curve that we're fighting against here in many respects, particularly in Latin America. So there's an unwillingness to pay for analytics in many parts of the region. And for those areas that are willing to pay for analytics, given that Google product is free, there's not really an understanding of how to incorporate that at an organizational level within a lot of those large organizations. While they may be data-driven in finance, what they may not understand is that online marketing is the new finance. And with that, with respect to that, making data-driven decisions based on the analytics needs to be something that's driven by organizations, willingness to incorporate that and have a vociferous appetite to make those decisions based on what it is that they're trying to accomplish. Again, understanding that content is king and figuring out what is it that they're going to expect that content to do for their organization.
I will just add something that I think I mentioned in my presentation, which is the fact that we have so much data when it comes to what happens on the web, but we need to understand better how what happens on the web, whether it's the app or the content experience or anything else, is impacting the consumer. Not necessarily the web, but in everything else that goes on in their lives, and then eventually end up in a transaction, whether it's on the web or outside the web. And I think that we're not doing enough in that regard. And when we're able to tie the different measurements so that we can have a cohesive story and a cohesive understanding of how one thing is impacting the other. I think that's very important. And of course, education, particularly in America.
And the last question is, we'll make it a quick one so that we end right on time. But for each of you, what would you say is your most exciting part of working in the digital analytical web space at this moment?
For me, is the opportunity. As we described it, in Latin America and US Hispanic, online investment is still less than 5% of overall ad spend. So the opportunity is huge, and that's what excites me every day. There's a lot of challenges that we face. In my world, I see a lot of different levels of maturity in terms of where the industry's at. Colombia versus Mexico versus Brazil versus the US Hispanic space. So how do you deal with this? And how do you continue to drive growth with all the challenges that we have? At the same time, the opportunity is so great that that's what keeps me energized, is knowing that we're just starting. And there's just so much out there left for us to do. And that's what excites me about it.
I love waking up every morning and being able to put together these different hypotheses that we'll try and understand with these companies that we'll work with. And then testing them and seeing if we made money. 9 times out of 10 we do. And what's really fun is when we really know that we're in that trusted advisor seat with our clients. We migrate into this role where they don't initiate or take a new step without having dialogue with us with respect to their analytics. They're making decisions based on the data. And when I see that light bulb go on, it is so exciting because at the end of the session or the off-site or whatever it is, there's this recognition that they're using the data to make these decisions and making a lot more return on their investment than they could have otherwise by intuition.
Well, I'm with Armando. I think that the type of opportunity that we have is difficult to find in other industries and markets. So that's one. And the second thing is that it is a lot of fun because there's so much innovation and there's so much change that right now, I mean, you know, we're constantly reinventing ourselves. We have done that in the last 3-4 years, and I'm pretty sure that, you know, we're gonna have to figure out new challenges and new things pretty much every single day. So it's fun, it's different, and it's not the type of job where you're gonna have to do the same thing over and over again. And you know, I think that's the fun part.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Armando, Paul, and Fernando. Thank you, everyone, for attending our session. We hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you the rest of the week.